to the present moment so they can make better decisions.
Yes. And with that said, I think it's time for us to begin your blueprint to becoming a meditation teacher. So we're going to start with, who are we? David G., would you like to introduce me and then I will introduce you?
Of course. Susie Yalof Schwartz is the creator and founder of Unplug Meditation. She is the creator of that first flagship studio in Santa Monica, which is really, I always call it like the temple of meditation, because that was the very first drop-in meditation studio on the planet. And you may think to yourself, wait, there's a whole bunch of them. That's right. There are a whole bunch of them around the planet. And Susie was the creator of that vision. And then opened up another studio in West Hollywood, California, in LA. And she is the author of Unplug. She is the creator of the Unplug Meditation app, which is probably, as far as I know, the very first video meditation app that's out there. So you can actually look at your teacher and meditate with them while you're hanging out with them. And this will be our third year that Susie invited me to join her to really share in the Unplugged Meditation teacher training. So she's a mover, she's a shaker, she's an archetype, and I'm honored to be your friend and to be on this journey with you.
Thank you. And David G., for those of you who don't know him, which I doubt is anyone on this call, is a legendary teacher who makes the practice very simple, very easy, very fun, very accessible, has trained over 2,000 people around the world. He's a global speaker. He is a global presenter. He's written 3 best-selling books on the field of meditation: De-Stressify, Secrets of Meditation, and Sacred Powers. I think there's one. Is there one more? Or are you working on one more?
I'm working on one more.
Okay. He is probably the most popular teacher on the Unplugged Meditation app and many other apps as well. And he has been our teacher trainee. Having trained over 2,000 people, he's now trained 90 people for our teacher training. It'll be my 6th time doing teacher training with him. And I have to say, I am really looking forward to it. So let's now get into you and why you're here. So we're going to talk a little bit about the blueprint, and we're going to deliver the following things. So by the end of this hour, hopefully you will understand your why. Why are you on this call? Do you want to deepen your practice? Do you want to become a meditation teacher? Let's connect to that. Decide, what can you do to make either goal of yours happen? Discover, what are the things that are getting in your way and blocking you? And understand what it takes to be a great teacher and how to get there. After training 90 people with David G., we now know, and training hundreds and hundreds of people who have come through my studio, we know what works and what doesn't work, and we're going to share some of these secrets and tips with you. And here's our next question, and we'd love for you to answer this in the chat. Do you want to teach, or are you looking to just deepen your own practice? I think starting with that question would be a great way to go. Do you want to teach, or are you looking to just deepen your own practice? If you could
We don't mean just, since that's what was my initial seed. I was just learning. I did not want to teach anyone. I did not want to even let anyone even know that I was a meditation teacher. I was really doing it so that I could have an internal way to hold my own feet to the fire, to make sure that I'd show up every single day. So that was really my vision. So we don't judge that in terms of like, oh, you only want to teach, or oh, you only want to be a great meditator. What we want to do, and what Unplug has always been dedicated to, is really creating great meditators. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point in that process, some people say, you know what, I love this so much, I'd like to share it in some way. And so we'd certainly, like to know from you, because we will teach you one of the core elements of becoming a great teacher really is to deepen your own practice. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, but we don't rate them in terms of,
That's true.
If you want to be a teacher, you're a 10. And if you just want to deepen your practice.
And not only that, a lot of people who have come through our training too had their own law offices, and they bring them into what they do in their everyday life. And a lot of people who've taken our training just wanted to have double bookends on their practice. So we'll talk a little bit about that moving forward, but it sounds like the majority of you are interested in both, which is great. You're in the right place.
Yeah. And for me, this journey was a journey of um, deepening my own practice. And so I honor that. And we know that really that's the launching pad for not just becoming a meditation teacher, if you should decide to do that down the road,
Mhm.
but to really doing anything else in your life. We know that people who are heavily meditated on a consistent basis, we know they're more confident. We know they're more comfortable in their own skin. We know that they really walk through the world with greater grace and greater ease.
Mhm.
And so that is at the core of the Unplugged Meditation Teacher Training as well.
That's true. So one of the first questions that we have is, what's getting in your way? So what is preventing you from getting to what you want to do? I always love this when you talk about this, David G, on who am I to teach? A lot of people come into the program and, they lack confidence. They're questioning, who are they to teach? They want to teach, but they feel a little bit insecure about it. They don't have a guaranteed path to achieve success. We've got a lot of type A people who've gone through the program. They have a fear of being judged or not having enough knowledge to teach. Well, that can easily take care of, because you will walk away this program knowing everything you need to know. Financial difficulties, afraid of speaking their truth, or not enough time. So it's kind of interesting to know which one is you. Which one do
Right,
you have?
right. And this concept that Susie was talking about, the classic imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Suddenly, who am I to be teaching this thing that I don't necessarily do every day? Or who am I to be teaching this thing that I've only been practicing for 6 months or a year or even 5 years? Who am I to teach?
Mhm.
And, that's who we want to learn from. We want to learn from people who have a great practice. That's sort of like the setup. I don't want to learn about meditation from someone who doesn't meditate. And that's why helping you really cultivate your own practice is so core and so important to the entire process of becoming a teacher or just deepening your practice. Because a lot of us are crisis meditators, and a lot of us
Mhm.
are people who we meditate and then we have company over the weekend and then that stops, or then we meditate and then suddenly there's an interruption in our lives in some way that knocks us off our game. And so we want to help you
Mhm.
get back on and teach you how to really ritualize your practice so it'll stick and be a part of you forever.
Yeah. And most people are coming from the same thing, but our program is very different than the other programs that you will see. And one of the reasons why is it's very hands-on. As you can see, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but there's David G and myself. And what we do is we teach how to teach. It's an experiential program. So you'll go through the program and we can walk through that later, but we believe that experience is what really makes a great teacher. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And, the experience of the practice, because once you have your own practice locked down, it's pretty easy to talk about, well, here's what happens with me. Here's what, I get fidgety when I sit down, or I have thoughts, or I fell asleep, or I'm seeing colors, or all those types of experiences. And so we don't just teach you how to teach, but we also teach you how to meditate. And we teach you all of those best practices of meditation so you can really own your practice. And we meditate. How do we do that? By meditating together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we meditate to start every day. We meditate to end every day. And then we talk about meditation between those two every single day. And of course, over the weeks that we're online working together, and for those of you unfamiliar with this format, we're online for a bunch of weeks.
Right.
And we'll dive deeper into those details, but we're online exploring lessons and spending time with each other. I have a one-on-one conversation with everyone who signed up for the training, and that way we can customize it. We can really personalize it
Mm-hmm.
to your goals and dreams and desires, as opposed to some cutter size fits all. Now, Susie and I have really painstakingly made sure that she and I have as much hands-on contact with you, whether that's during the online period or whether that's when we're in our in-residence week at Unplug Meditation in Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people have asked, it's interesting because yesterday I met with a bunch of people who were interested in the teacher training program, and they were asking, what makes Unplug so different in this program? And one woman was coming from another program. Another person was coming from having taken Joe Dispenza and 6 other programs, and they want to take our program. And we were trying to articulate the difference between all the different programs. And one of the things that I said, and I'd love to hear your take on that too, is that we teach you how to actually teach other people in a very simplistic, easy, modern, and accessible way. We believe in simplifying the practice. And one of my favorite things that David G says is, look, we're all coming to it from a different place. We've got Reiki healers coming. We have corporate trainers coming. We have lawyers coming. Someone will be thinking like they're hearing voices from the dead coming through. But everything that is not these 3 basic principles, which I'm about to show you, is just a thought. And I think having that as the basis of the program, yes, you will learn mantras, you'll learn mindfulness, you'll learn guided imagery and all the different ways to meditate, but with the fundamental foundation of simplify, simplify, simplify.
Right. We are staunch believers in the concept that less is more. And I've been a participant in a lot of different teacher trainings, and I have also been a student in a lot of different teacher trainings. And so I have, explored mantra and tantra, and explored mindfulness and vipassana, and worked with mediums and psychics and clairvoyants and clairsentients and Reiki healers, and worked with CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, as well. And what we do is distill it down to the essence so that regardless of what your orientation is, you'll be able to connect to these teachings. We do dive deep into the science, but we don't make it so you have to be spouting off the difference between the hippocampus and the amygdala. But we'll share that.
Know it.
And you'll know it. And this teaching also, our style is real world. So sometimes in the real world, we'll be talking science, and other times, we'll be talking about a specific process and how the brain works and how the body works and how our hormones and chemicals work. But if it's just that, then it gets like so dry. Mm-hmm. So we teach also in a very open-hearted way so that you can enjoy the process. I've always found that I love dogs, but I'm not big on dogma. And one thing that Unplug meditation, reinforces is that there's so many schools of meditation, mm-hmm. and so many lineages and so many philosophies. And I've explored so many of them, and I've written about so many of them. But what we've done is really distill it down into real world languaging that you can communicate with your grandmother, with your kid, with your employer, with your colleagues, with people that you've never met. Susie mentioned, to kick this off, that she was just speaking to physicians at Kaiser Permanente, and they're all sort of like, we're the medical footnotes on every single comment that you're having. And I was just working with cops up at San Francisco Police Department. We'll teach you the languaging. And that's the thing. When you can language it, you can be your most authentic self, speaking in the language of the people who are really sitting in front of you. And so we'll teach you how to really move in any direction. Mm-hmm. And that will all come from you owning your practice.
And also actually being able to simplify is going to be the difference of what makes you a good teacher and a not good teacher. Because when you teach at a place like Unplug, for instance, 50% of the room has never meditated before. 50% has been there for the last 5 years. So you have to be able to speak in a way that will be mind-blowing for both the new meditator and the pro. And how do we do that? We simplify the language, and we teach you exactly how to do that.
Right. If you've ever been sitting, either listening to a guided meditation or sitting in some type of meditation class, and you've closed your eyes, that's not the moment when you want someone spouting the 2012 University of Massachusetts Mass General Harvard Medical Center study where they prove that meditation can change the physical structure of your brain.
Mhm.
We do that with your eyes open, but you wouldn't say, close your eyys and now let me dump all this stuff on top of you. And so, we've learned.
Rookie move.
Right,
Rookie
right. We'd
move.
say that's a rookie move, and so we want you to be in that position where you can really understand um, when's the best time to share certain information, how to language, even if you're guiding someone and you're going to repeat something, how to repeat it in the most effective way. We know that there's a lot of different personality types. There are people who are anxious. There are people who are fiery. If you're familiar with Ayurveda, Vata Pitta Kapha. If you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, we know that there are different types of access points that different people have, and we want you to get comfortable teaching to each different type of people because we all receive information in different ways, and we all keep it and retain it in different styles. So that's really helpful to learn that. And I just want to remind you that come back to your core. If you own your practice, then you can sort of kind of share, well, here's what happens when I meditate. So this should probably kind of work for you too. But ultimately at the end of this teacher training, you will be an expert.
Mhm.
And then it doesn't matter who's in the room because you'll
And
be the most meditated person in the room.
yeah, this is a picture of one of our teachers from our last teacher training. And it's interesting because what we do is we help prepare you get to a place where you can actually sit on the stage in a room of 40 people and be able to actually teach and have the confidence to teach. And most people walk
Right.
in.
And so that might seem horrifying.
It might seem horrifying, but it actually is really fun. And whether you're coming to it scared or not scared, it's going to happen anyway. We actually had one person who did not want to come on the stage, was so afraid, was trembling. We basically said, you are not allowed to do it. And by the end, she was begging us to get on there. She got on there and she actually opened up her own meditation studio. Who can figure? But
Right.
so that's what happens. We help you get to where you want to be. And a lot of people love that they feel like they're being nurtured by this gorgeous environment. They come out with friends that they've had for their whole life. Like, was the last time you spent an entire week unplugged and with interesting, like-minded people? Big
Yes.
bonds in the room.
Yeah. Susie, could you just back up to that picture of all of us in those smaller groups?
Yeah.
Because so this is where you would start. So that person on stage doing this started in a small group like this, and we were not necessarily supervising each group in the first round. We didn't want to freak people out. So in the first round, it's just 3 or 4 people talking to each other and sharing techniques and styles, and we'll give you all that content, and then you get to practice it. And after you then change partners and then do it again and then do it again and then do it again, then getting on stage and doing this in front of 40 people, it's no big deal. So we'll help you get comfortable, and we'll help you gain your confidence, and that will spark your courage.
Yes, agreed. Okay, so now let's get into the meat of this. Why you're here, and I'd like to find that out too. So if you could also post in the chat, what would you like to walk away from this training with? This 1-hour training that we're doing together, and we will continue to talk, but we'd love to hear kind of what you're interested in learning about.
Yes. Essentially, why'd you show up? What were you hoping to receive? What were you hoping to leave with by the time it was over?
Yeah. And as you write that down, we'll continue to talk. So we're going to talk about the 3 key elements that makes a great teacher. Number 1 is passion. Finding your niche and sharing it in your voice. Anyone can learn a script. There are a lot of scripts out there. I've gone into hundreds of meditation studios and they're all teaching the same thing, the body scan. But it's about how you do it and how you bring yourself to it and how you make it interesting. And that's kind of what we believe. And the kind of teachers that we hire at Unplug are the ones that are passionate and actually bring themselves to it. Confidence. You don't necessarily walk in with confidence, but you will definitely walk out with it. And knowledge, you will have the knowledge that that won't even be something that you have to think about. It'll be so ingrained by the end of this teaching, and you will know it so well that that won't be something you need to worry about. And I think that then helps with the confidence and the passion. Do you want to add anything to that, David G?
Yeah, I think, when we come down to like, the classic question, why do you fear? Why do you fear anything? You fear because you do not trust. And this doesn't necessarily have to be trusting something outside of you, but you don't trust that things will unfold the way you think they will. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine being heavily trained and coached and guided to become the best version of a meditator and the best version of a meditation teacher. In that moment, suddenly, now the fear is replaced by trust because you're like, well, yeah, I got it. I made that commitment. It was a deep dive. I read these books. Each week I practiced the lesson, and then I showed up. And our time together is an immersion.
Mm-hmm.
We're every day that we're together in person. It's we're together from 9 to 5, and
Yep.
every single second, and all we're doing is talking meditation, meditating, and sharing. We're doing our own every single day, our own FAQs on what if this happens, what if that happens, what if this happens. So really, one of the beautiful things of leaving the teacher training is that you have this understanding of everything that can and will unfold.
Mm-hmm.
So there are no surprises after that. And that's how the trust in your own ability transcends the fear that you have. Because there are a lot of people, what's the number one fear on the planet? It's not fear of public speaking, it's fear of loud noises. But the number two fear on the planet is fear of public speaking. So we can't necessarily help you with the fear of loud noises, although by getting chill and by getting heavily meditated, you'll probably be less reactive to them. But
Yes.
we will definitely help you move beyond that second biggest fear, which is fear of public speaking.
And David, we have so many great questions here, but I want to answer these more towards the end, but because we're going to get to a lot of them as we move forward. So we're going to just talk about the 4 biggest myths about teaching.
Yeah.
Number 1, you have to always be calm and peaceful to be a teacher. Not
We
true.
Right. We believe that this practice, which is why they call it a practice, is a
Mm-hmm.
journey. Every single day, we better ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know it's scientifically proven that if you show up and do this thing every single day, we know that you will shrink your amygdala. We know that you will activate your prefrontal cortex. We know that the science is confirming that you will suddenly be that calm amidst the chaos, that stillness inside the storm.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get triggered? Absolutely. Can you get poked? Absolutely. Will you show up at that holiday dinner and someone's going to ask you that rude or weird question and put you on the spot? Absolutely. And we will guarantee that through the practice of meditation,
Mm-hmm.
you're less likely to not be your best version. So you're not always going to be calm and peaceful, but you will always be on the journey to being more calm and more peaceful and more accepting of the world around you.
One of the things that I thought when I started my journey was that meditation, and I had heard it before by someone is effortless ease. Nothing could be further than the truth. I've been meditating for, oh my gosh, now it's been 8 years or 9 years. And I don't think there's ever been a meditation where I wasn't battling my brain a little bit. So we know that thoughts will happen, and they do happen. You're going to think. And a lot of meditation is the battling of those thoughts. So
Right. And according to the UCLA Neuro Lab, we have 70,000 thoughts a day. That comes down to about a thought every 1.2 seconds.
Mhm.
So they're coming. And they're coming whether your eyes are closed, they're coming whether your eyes are open. They're coming whether you're in waking active state, and they're coming to you even when you're in meditation. So that's actually one of the things that can happen when you meditate. So we know that the goal of meditation is not to stop thoughts, it's to progressively quiet the fluctuations of your mind. So it's a process.
Mhm.
And there's sort of like a halo effect. Show up every single day, and then the power of meditation chemically and hormonally takes hold in your body.
Mhm.
And over time, probably your heart will beat a little bit more slowly. Your blood pressure will come down a little bit if you meditate every single day. Your breathing will become deeper rather than shallow. And so, as those very, very obvious biological components of our physiology happen, we become a little less reactive. It's amazing. So it's not effortless. It requires you to show up.
Right.
But I believe that, and it's certainly happened to me, and I've seen it in Susie even since I met her, and all of my students and my certified teachers over the years, people have become the better versions of themselves.
Mhm.
They pay a little more attention. They become a little more reflective and a little less reflexive. They
True.
become a little more thoughtful, a little more mindful, and
Mhm.
a little less thoughtless and mindless. And so that helps to create a little more ease in our lives.
Next one is meditation has to be religious or spiritual. So if you aren't, you can't teach it to others.
Yeah, well, meditation is a practice, it's a tool. And that tool is applicable whether you're an atheist, an agnostic, or deeply devotional. And so we don't require that you have a certain belief system. And what you'll start to realize as you flow through the world, not everyone showing up for your classes necessarily floated in on a unicorn or necessarily, you know, came in with a dolphin or a mermaid. And I've spent lots of time with all those people. But one of the beautiful aspects of unplugged meditation is that it is non-denominational and it is purely, Susie has this, and I'm not speaking out of school. Susie, at her core, has this vision that everyone who shows up at her studios, um, no matter from what walk of life they come from, no matter what political orientation they come from, no matter what belief system they come from, they leave in a better space.
Mhm.
So we're cutting through all of those types of things and going deep, 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 really into our mind, into our body, and into our heart.
Mhm.
And so if you're not religious, if you're not spiritual, if you are religious, if you are spiritual, we take those and put them on the side and go deeper into the practical application. So if you are religious, well, then you can weave that into your religious or spiritual practice. And if you're not, you can use it and share it in a very, very secular way. And that's one of the strengths of unplug meditation.
This is another important question. A lot of people have come to me and saying, our program is 200 hours. And we believe that if you go through our program, in 6 weeks, you will be prepared 100% to teach meditation. And a lot of people think teaching meditation takes years and years to learn. This isn't true. It You will be learning for years and years and years after you learn with us, and you might not go through the teacher training meditation with Unplug and then be on the big stage at Unplug, but you will be able to start teaching from the beginning until the end, and that's a 6-week period. So it doesn't have to take years and years to become a meditation teacher.
And I think that's really an important point, Susie, because one of our criteria is we want to get everyone by graduation day to the level to which they would at least um, be able to teach at Unplug. So there's no guarantee that you teach at Unplug, and you may not want to teach at Unplug, but we want to make sure that if we're giving you this certificate, we'd be comfortable, that you have fulfilled all the that we've put out there, and that and we keep raising the bar and raising the bar and raising the bar. So we know that when we send you back out into the world, even if you never choose to teach, you've got those, you've got those goods inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the clarity, the comfort, the confidence, the courage, the curriculum, and you've got the practice rippling through you.
I like the way that you just said that.
Well, good.
Because I wish I wrote that down. The clarity, the courage, and the curriculum. Honestly, you can't get bigger than that, and that's what you will walk away with. This could be a long thing, but since we don't have that much time and I do want to answer everybody's questions, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. And this is the 7 common mistakes meditation teachers make. And I know a lot of people came onto this program just to hear this secret situation. So I'll kind of go through it, and then of course you can chime in. Number 1 is when you make it about you. There is nothing worse than going to a meditation class and listening to a meditation teacher talk about the trials and tribulations of their life, and it has nothing to do with yours. When you are someone who goes to a class, you really are going there so that you can have a big experience. So if you're going to be a great meditation teacher, it's really important for you to teach them how they can access what they need to in order to have their experience. 2, we don't want to be the hero. We want to be the guide. We're not coming in and saving the day. We're coming in and helping guide them so that they can save the day for themselves. 3, meditation-y voices. I'll give you an example of what that's like. I went and I had a class, and the guy spoke like this: close your eyes. I'm not going to torture you and go on like that, but it was honestly supposed to be a 45-minute meditation that lasted for 3.5 hours. Needless to say, was not good. So when you do your intro for your meditation, you want to keep your voice at the same, maybe slightly softer, slightly more mellow, but not transitioning to an entirely different voice. Going in without a plan. When you teach meditation, you want to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's the same thing with sound baths. Beginning, a middle, and an end. The worst thing you can go in is without a plan. And after a while, you're not going to need a plan because you will be so versed on how to do that, but kind of understanding what your intention is for the room, what you want them to walk away with. 5, thinking when you teach it's your meditation. This is my biggest pet peeve as a studio owner, and I can tell when my teachers don't meditate and they come in and then, their eyes are closed, they're meditating on the big stage, and people are like raising their hands trying to get their attention because someone might be snoring next to them. This is not your meditation when you're on the stage. This is their meditation, and you are holding space for them. So you have to remember that. 6, if you don't have your own practice, you can't be a good teacher. I agree with that. If you're not practicing meditation, then I don't think you're going to be a great teacher. I'm just going to say it like that. You have to walk the walk. And people can tell if you're walking the walk and if you're not walking the walk. And then 7 is you don't know your audience. So what does that mean? That means if I walk in to teach a group of people and they're a bunch of people who are struggling with having children, and I'm talking about my kids for the first 10 minutes, I've lost my audience. I've not only lost them, but they'll be hating my guts at the end of that. So being able to really understand your audience is key.
Yeah, I think that a part of this training that we don't announce and we don't lean heavily on in a lot of different ways to the world outside, but we spend a lot of time. And as Susie was just sharing, there's no other meditation teacher training where you're even going to address a list like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at our last teacher training, we had everyone line up in the back of the room and one by one go on stage and then teach for 20 seconds so we could assess whether they were speaking softly but loudly enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they would come back to the room and we did that. So we're teaching you how to, we're teaching you about body language. We're teaching you about how to project. We're teaching you about how to be that um, leader of a meditation without suddenly zoning out and collapsing. You've got another 23 hours in your day where you can go meditate. But
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure that our teachers are really rocking from the highest level.
Right.
And we consider these rookie mistakes, but honestly, these are the practices that other teacher trainings, don't even pay attention to. They're
Right.
just not even aware. That's
Mm-hmm.
the key. So it's not about giving you a script and saying, rock on, memorize it, spit it back out. Okay, here's your certificate.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you understand how important it is that you're holding the room for that 10 minutes, for that 1 hour, for however long it is. And we want you to be your best and show up because, you're going to tell people, oh, I'm a certified unplugged meditation teacher. And we want to make sure that if you're going to say that we have the confidence that we imbued you with these important teachings.
Mm-hmm.
Unplug is all about being inclusive. And that means whoever's in the room, we want to be inclusive to. And as Susie was saying, if you suddenly go off on your own tangent or you start talking about all these challenges you're having in your life, and we've all been to a yoga class, we've all been to a meditation class where suddenly it becomes, and at the end of the class, people run up to the teacher and hug the teacher who's sobbing because they're going through a tough time. That's not what, we understand, after the class, you can tell everyone what's going on, but
Mm-hmm.
it's our goal, so we teach you the languaging to use at the very, very beginning, during the middle of class to keep people engaged in the process, at the end of the class, how to move that class really through its beginning, middle, and end,
Yeah.
so that people feel that they got something special and they were able to access it. And someone asked a question, about they think they may be going into, sound baths or something like that. Part of this process, and I don't think any other teacher training can really offer that, is that we also guide you through and make it possible for you to attend classes in crystals, chakras, aromatherapy, breathwork, sound baths,
Mm-hmm.
sound healing, all these aromas, all these types of teachings that we talk you through. So if you suddenly go like, oh, I love essential oils, that's what I want to teach. We go deeper into that and allow you to, during that week, you can attend all the unplugged meditation classes that are going on. So it's very, very comprehensive. It's very, it's not complex, but it's very comprehensive.
And it's fun.
And it's
And
fun.
it's fun. Okay, because yes, you're learning a lot, but it's fun. It's kind of like what I love doing when I'm not working or doing anything like that. It's just exploring all the different things that make you feel good, that you enjoy, learning the nuances, connecting with people, and deepening your practice. And by the end of it, I mean, I love this picture so much. This is one of our trainees. Her name is Daphne. She actually teaches now at Unplugged Meditation. But that was captured after the last day. And you could see from that picture, she's just glowing. And she has the glow that we all have. And that's that meditation glow when you meditate every single day, twice a day, for at least 20 minutes morning and in the afternoon. And you glow hard.
And after she got certified, she got engaged. So I'm not
Yeah.
saying there's a guaranteed correlation there, but we know that your life will blossom and bloom once you are certified.
Kind of like engagement chicken. But I'll tell you guys about that on another call because we don't have but check out Glamour Engagement Chicken. It's a funny story. Secrets to advanced meditation. I don't want to get too deep into that because we are running out of time, but here's the thing. Just do it longer and more often. And read Secrets of Meditation. and you will understand the secret to deepening your practice, which, by the way, is part of the curriculum when you take the teacher training program. Let's go into a glimpse of what this training is. So week 1, you focus on the foundation. Week 2, the science and the benefits. Week 3, the present moment technique. Week 4, cultivating your practice. Week 5, the fundamentals of teaching. And then week 6 is your deep dive and learn how to teach live in Los Angeles. The dates
And
are March 9th. I have more of a detailed list on this one.
right, but I do just want to jump into that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
In this teacher training, Susie has also cultivated a whole flow on the app. So everyone who signs up for the teacher training is using the app as a tool to help us each day. So we're all meditating together using the app. We're watching videos on our dashboard. We've got a pretty, cool dashboard that's really, really intuitive and easy to access. Our lessons are up there. Our videos are up there. Our link to our private Facebook page is up there, as well as our webinars that we have like this over the course of the training leading up to our in-residence.
Mm-hmm. And as you can see from this, you can really get more of a glance. This was taken directly from our teacher training page. If you go to unplug.com, you can learn more about our teacher training page. And I really inspire all of you to go there. And you'll see the dates of the practice, which is March 9th through April 18th. It's 6 weeks. April 13th to the 18th is in residence in Los Angeles. And this is, when was it? Was this the last one? Yeah. This is the last teacher training that we just did. As you can see, everybody's really happy there. And we have now trained 90 teachers, 12 different countries, and 9 meditation studios, which is pretty fantastic, if I do say so ourselves. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the questions that you had. Let's get back to that. What's the next part of the training? I mean, after today's great info. Thank you, Ernesto. The next thing is for you to apply. And when you apply, then we look it over and David G and I decide together whether we think you're a good fit for the program and whether we can do what you need us to do. The application is very easy. You can apply today. I would advise you to do that. So when we accept people, it's first come, first serve. This is from Sarah. What would be the credentials we will have? How many different styles will we learn? Sarah, you'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot of different styles. And plus we also offer different things on top of that if you wanted to add on a sound bath post our course. So the credentials would be you'd have a certification from Unplug Meditation and from David G, which gives you the ability to then teach corporates and teach privates and teach at our studio and teach at any other studio. And you'll learn so many different styles, as David G mentioned, that, yeah.
You'll learn in the moment, stress busters. You'll learn many, many different techniques and tips to sort of like ground your practice. Some people it's all about mindfulness, other people it's all about mantras. We're going to explore all the different types of techniques, and then obviously you get to what makes the most sense to you. But when we're together, we'll be meditating every single day, several times throughout the day, and you can attend Unplug classes during our breaks.
Yes.
We have a lunch break and after dinner, and so that will really give you such massive exposure. That's why we think it's so broad and it's deep, right. And that's a rarity in meditation teacher trainings as well.
How will be the teaching divided by days? Have you already an agenda? Thank you. Yes, we have a very serious agenda. We have a lot you need to accomplish. It's very rich. It's very deep. And it's very organized, but it's fun. It's done in a way that it doesn't feel overwhelming. Alexius, I'm actually currently in the meditation teacher training at the Den. However, I started my meditation journey through your studio. So I'm just curious about what your teacher training is like and what I can take away by possibly doing this training along with my current one. That's really interesting because someone else was taking that one and wants to take our training as well. Look, I know they teach in 3 different modules. We have one module. And the one module is basically everything you need to know about meditation and more. And we teach you how to teach. So it's very hands-on, it's very experiential, and it's different than what you're getting there, but it would be a complement. I'm looking for more clarity on the best method or techniques. I'm drawn to sound baths and was a percussionist back in junior high. Perhaps I find a unique spin on that. Yes, I mean, you will, after you take our training, David, you will be able to know in what area you want to specialize, and you can play with the bowls while you're with us.
Right.
A better understanding of what training entails, how this course differs from David G's teaching course, see if this course and teaching in general resonate. So I'm going to, because of the time constraint, and I know everybody's going to be kicked off in 4 minutes, so I'm just going to keep them really short and sweet. David G's training is very deep, very long. How long is it? Is it
16 weeks.
16 weeks. Ours is 6 weeks. Ours is kind of geared more to secular meditation. David G does a deeper dive into mantras and sutras and the
Bhagavad Gita.
I can never pronounce it. So yeah. Engage, sign me up for meditation training as soon as possible. Saja, thank you. Ernesto, can't do this session. When's the next session will be? It's probably going to be in September, so you have to take a peek and keep an eye out. What kind of time commitment is needed each day? Well, I would say you can kind of binge the training online by week. So it's not 24/7, but when you are at our studio the last week, it's a lot.
Yeah. When we're at Unplug for our in-residence, every morning, 9 to 12, obviously there's a bathroom break in there someplace.
Mm-hmm.
Then we take a lunch break, and it's, after lunch is over, and a lot of people, they'll take Unplug classes during that lunch break. And then after that break, we dive deep in till 5 o'clock. And we end every day. We start every day with 30 minutes of meditation. We end every day with 30 minutes of meditation. You have access to Unplug's amazing evening sessions in Santa Monica or in West Hollywood. So that's something that can really direct you and guide you, and you start to experience other teachers in this format. You could experience 15 different classes over the course of this week and really help you to ground what makes sense. And you might even be somewhat critical in those, like, oh, the teacher used that and I learned in class not to speak that way or whatever. So we are always raising the bar. This teacher training represents probably our most magnificent so far. We keep learning. We're willing to take feedback. We always want to keep raising our standards and including more and different aspects. And so this one is the most special. I don't mean to take away from anything that's happened before, but we tell everyone that as well.
Sarah's asking one more thing, and that is, do you talk about the business aspects? Okay, yes, we do. And also, but it's not a business training. David G and I, every single day, take questions from people. And instead of having it last forever, we basically have you all write down your questions, and then every day we answer those questions. So we make sure that you walk away knowing what you need to know and what you want to know. Love ya lots, Miss Susie. Thank you for all that you have created at the studio for us to attend. But thank you, guys. So let's wrap this up. There's so much more to do. There's so much more to learn. This teacher training, because it's led by David G, is possibly one of the greatest teacher trainings of all time. You will love it. We got a 10 out of 10 from every attendee because we make everybody take a survey anonymously, and I was very excited about that. And you can talk to any one of our graduates because they would all say the same thing, that this meditation training has changed their life, that it has taken them to places that they never thought that they could go. And it is a very rich and beautiful experience. I hope you all have the chance to apply. And thank you, David G, for your time, and all of you for taking the time to be with us for this hour. We really appreciate it. And please go check out unplug.com, and then click on teacher training and apply today. David G, do you want to leave any parting words?
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that we transform the world by transforming ourselves. And I can't think of a more beautiful journey of transformation to be on than really elevating your practice, becoming an expert, and then flowing these teachings out there into the world, whether it's in your home, to your cat, um, or on a large stage. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. Have a
And I
beautiful
would and I would encourage people, if you have any further questions, email Susie. What's the best email to reach out to you, Susie?
Susie at unplug.com, and you'll all get an email from me tomorrow telling you my email and also where you can apply and learn more. The pricing is also on the website, so just go on there and you can see everything. We'll see you there. Thank you, David G.
Hey, thank you, and thanks everyone for taking the time to spend this hour. And hopefully, you got a couple of tools and tips and techniques to inspire you, take your practice to the next level, and hopefully, we'll see you at the upcoming teacher training.
Should we do one final unplug?
Yes, this is the ancient mantra that this is one mantra that you will learn. Take a long, slow, deep breath in and repeat the ancient mantra, unplug.
Unplug. We love ending with that one. Have a beautiful day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, let me turn off our recording.